Hi, okay. My name is Julian Bell. I am a hybrid shooter, meaning I do photo and video. I'm a filmmaker and photographer, and I am also a content creator. And I want to share part of my journey, my story of how I've gone from a beginner to a professional, and why you should try this too, even if it's just as a hobby, and be a content creator and share your work with the world. So, for starters, I did not start off wanting to be this. So, I was actually in film school when 2020 happened and the whole world shut down, right? And part of what happened was I was going to graduate in the spring of 2021, but in order to graduate, you had to submit your short film. And the thing is, I had gone to film school to get access to all these different cameras and lenses and lights and everything, because that's kind of the idea, right? That's the job. That's the goal. That's what I want to do. And what ended up happening was they explained that they couldn't give us that equipment because you don't want people to get infected or sick or change hands, et cetera, et cetera. And I was kind of bummed. And so what ended up happening was during the fall of 2020, I started to do a bunch of research because I was like, I want to make a film. I don't want to shoot this on my iPhone. I want to actually get a camera and make a film. So I started doing research, and I understood that a lot of great filmmakers, a lot of great DPs, they actually start off as photographers because it helps you learn about lighting specifically. So I was like, cool, let's be a photographer. The best way to learn that is to go to YouTube. And that's where I found, YC Imaging, Peter McKinnon, Brandon Washington, Chris Howe, all these different people who just give me an abundance of information. I feel like I forgot a lot of people too, but you know what? You know what I mean, right? And they taught me all these things about cameras. And so they were using cameras and lights I definitely could not afford. So I went and found something that's in my budget. And the very first camera I actually bought was the Sony A6400. So it's a great camera. I still use it today, actually, as a point and shoot because it's much smaller and it looks like I'm a tourist or just somebody having fun, right? Side note, once you start using like professional looking cameras, people think you're a professional, which is great, except for like when you're at public events and public spaces and stuff like that, and people ask you for a media pass and you're trying to explain, look, I'm just taking pictures for fun. Because people they didn't think, oh no, you're professional. You're not casual. But anyway, back to the story. There's no script for this, by the way. I'm just gonna try my best to put this together. But I bought the Sony A6400, and then I went through a period of just like having pure fun with my camera. So this meant doing my best with photo shoots that I possibly could, doing video shoots, etc., and trying to replicate what I was seeing in these YouTube tutorials that just was not working for me. And I was like, we have the same settings. I don't understand what's happening. And that's a huge part of it, right? Is being not being able to replicate everything that you see. And that's just, it comes with time and experience. So I did that, and then what ended up happening is I was actually able to link up with a local photographer out here in Dallas. His name is Chris Brown, which I know what you're gonna say, like that can't be somebody's real name. Like, no, his legal name is Chris Brown. I thought it was just crazy. But I got to go on photo walks with him. I got to shadow him on different shoots and ask him just a ton of different questions, right? And I got to be like introduced and kind of like inducted into like this local community of photographers and filmmakers, and like it was just a beautiful thing. Like I loved it. It was awesome because you start to realize like, there's always somebody who knows so much more than you, and that's okay. That's the beauty of community, right? And made my first short film. It's actually here on my YouTube channel. I think it's called Nobody. Is it either Nobody? Yeah, I think it's called Nobody. And let's just say it was a little rough. It's a little rough, but it's definitely got like the foundation, right? The building blocks. You can tell like I had a vision in mind, and I got to execute on some really great shots and some really great moments and angles. But then you can tell when like I didn't know what to do in certain situations and things of that nature. But in the beginning, my photos, I'm gonna tell you right now, I was very enthusiastic, but okay, so the Julian now would not take the same photos as Julian back then, but Julian back then was still learning, right? He was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I finally figured out bokeh. I finally figured out aperture. But yeah, I was really enthusiastic, but then again, I was having fun, and I had gotten some equipment that inspired me, and I found these people who inspired me. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So that happened from like 2020 throughout 2021. I was just doing photo shoots and things like that. And then I graduated, and then this thing called life happened. I got a job. I had a 9 to 5, and man, the 9 to 5 wore me out, but I was also still a reservist in the military as well. So I had the 9 to 5, and then I had to do the military stuff too. And like I didn't have time, so I was working out, I was being social, I was doing everything but working with cameras. And hold on, I gotta wake this up because that's the aesthetic back there. You know what I mean? There's the aesthetic. There's a reason for it. But long story short, I looked up. I hadn't been working with my cameras in a long time, and that was a problem. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sell them because I can't have all this equipment that's so expensive. Because at the point, I had the Sony A6400, also had the Sony A7R2, and I had a variety of lenses with me as well. And what happened was I was like, I would rather sell this to somebody else or sell these to different people, and it'd be so much more helpful than just sitting on my shelf. And I actually said a prayer because I'm religious, and the answer I got back was, hey, let's hold off on selling things, just post content for fun for a year and let's see what happens. And so I was obedient, and I just started posting content over on Instagram. And I went from like 400, 500 followers, I think, to over 20,000 followers in a year. And all I did was I just posted about the stresses of being a content creator, the stresses of being a photographer, of like working with clients and people asking you for these ridiculous shots and these really complex shoots for this much money, or for worse, for exposure is what they say, right? For for the, hey, do it for the vine. You know what I mean? I feel like that is such a dated thing, but you know what? It works for me. Do it for the exposure, do it for the experience. You never know what you're gonna know or who you're gonna meet. And like how that can be kind of frustrating after you've poured so much of your time and energy and money into your craft for all of these different things that you have access to. So yeah, and the crazy thing is I start to meet people because I'm located here in Dallas, Texas, right? I got to meet people in LA, Atlanta, New York. I got to meet people around the world. Ma'am, get out of there. I have a cat. Hold on. Ma'am, I can see you. Thank you. You wildin'. Sorry for that. People out in Asia, out in Europe, out in Africa. And I know Africa's a continent, but there's so many different people I got to meet. Like some people were like in Ghana, some people were in Nigeria, some people were in I forgot the name of it. I feel bad because I forgot the name of it. Some people were in South America. Some people were in Australia. I think I already said Australia. But yeah, I got to meet people from around the world. And sometimes we had to use Google Translate just to talk to each other because we spoke different languages. But we were still talking about cameras. And like the beauty of it is like some of them are like friends of mine now. And some of them are still acquaintances, which is dope. And some of us, we purely talk cameras. And so I can hop on the phone with someone and just talk and just nerd out on nothing but cameras, and it's amazing. It's a great experience, right? But yeah, it's not just like the money or working with brands. Like that stuff is cool, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it's the people you get to meet, the experiences, the connections. You'll get so many different experiences just from being able to work a camera, being able to hold a camera correctly, and people trust you. That it's beautiful, and I think that's something that I really want to harp on. Is like if you can be inspired by a camera, by a photograph, by a movie, do what you can do, right? Like don't limit yourself because you don't have the right equipment. Don't limit yourself because you don't have this or that. Understand a lot of this stuff is just an ingenuity in your imagination and what you can come up with. So and there's a huge community out there. There's a whole world of people who are just like you, and we get it. And so we can give you advice. I promise you, 9 times out of 10 we will. You might get like a one weirdo every once in a while, but you know, we're gonna help you out to the best of our ability. But yeah, going through 2021, I just started doing a bunch of shoots. Just some of it was for fun, some of it was paid. I got to work. I got my first couple brand deals, which was dope. It was an amazing experience. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was geeked. I was a little geeked. I'm not gonna hold you. But yeah, next thing you know, I found myself, and I'm just having a great time creating. And so it was 2021 through 2022 that happened as well. And then I think what happened is the next year I got to work with one of the bigger brands. I actually got to work with Nikon. So this camera here in the corner is a Nikon Z8. I just have it rigged out for filmmaking purposes because it can shoot 8K ProRes RAW and MRAW internally, which is awesome. We love that so much. You know what that means? Don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. Just know that's very nice. For a DSLR, that's insane. And also Nikon's also my go-to for all my photography from now on. Like Sony's cool, but like for photography, Sony's cool. That is beautiful back there. But side note, you know, they actually found me from Instagram, from my posting. I was just posting on Instagram, having a good time, and I found out that Nikon, they knew about me, and they sent me a camera, and then they also sent me out to a creator camp, which was out in San Antonio, Texas, and I got to meet other creators from around the country, and we all got to just try out the Nikon Z8 and talk about what we felt about the camera, how it feels to be a content creator, how it feels to have fun, how it feels to work in this industry. And I got an even more sense of community from that. You know what I mean? And so if you're worried about brand deals, those come as you get more established. Once people realize, oh, like this is not a hobby for you. Like even if it is a hobby, this is something that you do. Like it's not just a phase of your life. You really enjoy this, right? And so that part was awesome. I got to work with some other brands. I got to work with Amran as well. Hold on. It's the aesthetics. I'm sorry. She not getting the memo. And now she not. Okay, cool. And then additionally, what another thing that happened is that I got some like. I just tell you, I got some great life experiences. I got to work with brands, businesses, business owners, both experienced and brand new. I also got to work with e-commerce. I got to work with churches. I got to work with Professional Pickleball Association, so the PPA. They flew me out to Denver, Colorado from Dallas, Texas to actually just, all I had to do was take some photos and videos. That was it. I just got to watch professional pickleball players be great at what they're doing in a tournament and just have fun. That was awesome. I got to speak at schools. I got to work with churches. I've gotten to work with so many different people, right? And that's the point, is you don't want a bunch of followers on social media. What you want is a sense of community, people you can talk to and just embrace and answer questions, ask questions, just go hang out and stuff like that. So I'm telling you right now, if you want to get out the house, if you want to have fun, if you want to challenge yourself, if you want to experience like the real good moments in life and see behind closed doors, sometimes the BTS and stuff is cool. Like seeing like the final product is awesome. Seeing how the product is made is lit. Like going to a concert is cool. If you get to work in the pit and take like photos and videos and go around with like your media pass, that is even more fun. Working a basketball or football game where you're on the field or you can sit on the court with your media pass, it is so much better than sitting in this. You're not listening right now. I'm trying to let you know you're missing out and you gotta stop, okay? So this is your sign if you're looking for one. If you made it to this point of the video, first of all, you're my favorite type of person because I know I was just talking and I don't have a script, so I was kind of just vibing out, not gonna hold you. Please do me a favor. I need to know, who is your favorite camera brand for, let's not say overall, who's your favorite camera brand for video and who's your favorite camera brand for photo? And I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna put it like that. We're not even including the fact that Nikon just bought Red. Leave that part out of the equation, okay? Just camera brands specifically. Who is your favorite? Put that down in the comment section for me below. If you wanna see more stories like this, because I am also gonna be doing tutorials and tech reviews and like story times on this channel to try to help out as much as I possibly can. If you would like to be a part of that community that I'm trying to grow, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It does help out tremendously. Send this to somebody if you think it's gonna be helpful. And yeah, that's all I got for you for now. And hopefully I will see you next time. But for now, that's it. Peace. I had to yell at you in the middle of the video. Like now gonna know now I look like a bad guy. But you was over there digging in the trash and you never dig in the trash. But I got the camera on and now you want to dig in the trash. Like, we got